What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to episode 61 of the Talkin ATL Hawks podcast. We have got a very special episode today. Why? Why is it special? Because it is the very first episode of the new year 2026. I hope each and every single one of you guys had a great 2025. I know it was a weird year. We had a lot of weird stuff going on. But you know what? It just seems like the world keeps getting any weirder. I feel like ever since COVID, each year has gotten progressively weirder. I don't know if it's just me, but that's how it feels like to me. Whether it's in the sports world or it's in the political world or if it's just in any, it just seems like each year just something strange keeps happening. Like, can we just have a normal 2026 where nothing goes on? It's just everyone's chilling in one planet. Like, can we not have that? And I say that, and the first thing that happens in 2026 is we get Venezuela's dictator locked up in
Yes.
America. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever, bro. 2026 is going to be a wild ride. But you know what? Look, we survived COVID. We survived last year. I don't think anything should surprise us anymore. But hey, welcome
Yeah.
to 2026, boys. How we feeling?
I'm feeling great. My New Year's was pretty fun. Hung out with some friends. I had a bit of an early, uh, lunch slash drinks with some friends. Because they had other
Drink,
plans. So I just showed
drink
up
a lot of water.
with fun water. Yeah, fun water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Um,
Ooh,
but yeah,
he
no, my
drank some
New
of
Year's
that
was
Propel
good.
water.
Yeah, but no, I'm just ready to kick it back to y'all boys and and this will be our first. No, this will be our second full year of the podcast. Second full year of the podcast
Yeah,
because 2025 was because we started it in the second half of 2024. So last year was our first full year of the podcast. This will be our second full year of the podcast, assuming we can continue it. But
This podcast has rotated around the sun 2 times, boys.
yeah,
We are growing up.
look,
yeah,
right off the bat, I mean, like we're starting 2026 playing a much better basketball. I know we're gonna get into it. We went 2-2 this week. We played 4 games. We went 2-2. But the style of play that the Hawks have presented
you watched that
from
Raptors game?
Yeah, I was
I
about to
did.
say.
No,
So
no,
we
no, no, no,
thought.
no, no. We'll get into that. The Raptors game, I think we played just as good as we did against the Timberwolves and the Knicks. It's just a fact the Raptors would not miss. I will stand by. We'll get into it a little bit, but I think we contested almost every shot. They just wouldn't
Yeah, and
miss.
you know, and,
But
I mean, and to your point, this does remind me of that Wizards game that we got like smacked by like 20
right.
something. Making CJ couldn't miss. So yeah, I mean, to your point, I
But
do agree with you there, but we'll get into that later.
But
It's
and also the way we played against the Knicks and the Timberwolves was one of the best versions of Hawks basketball I think we've seen all year. And maybe it's a sign that Quinn Snyder has finally pushed his team in the right direction.
It was the best game of basketball we played all year, but we'll save the suspense for later because it seems like the way you kind of brought that in, Chaser, we're already going to be disagreeing about that Raptors game, which is awesome. I like that. I like when we disagree. It brings some fun energy to the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so keeping the theme of the new year, boys, since we have 4 games to cover, I'm going to get right into the start bench cut. It's not even a start bench cut. It's really just a question, and I want to see your guys' perspective on it. What is your guys' New Year's resolution for the Atlanta Hawks?
Oh, for the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. Shoot. I gotta think about this for a second.
I can go ahead. I already have mine.
All right, Chase, fire away.
My New Year's resolution for the Hawks is just to have a clearer picture of the future. And what I mean by that is last year, what we're bringing into this year is just a whole bunch of questions. What's the state of Trae Young? Is Jalen Johnson going to be our main guy now? Which I think the answer to that is an obvious yes. Now it's what are we going to do with Kristaps Porzingis? And what can Quinn Snyder do to win over the fans again. Because if you go on the Hawks Instagram or any social media and you just scroll through all their Instagram posts, it's fire Quinn Snyder, fire Quinn Snyder, fire Quinn Snyder, which I think is ridiculous. I think Quinn Snyder is a top 5 head coach in the NBA basketball league, and I will absolutely argue that. So I
Wait,
think it's just
did you say Quinn Snyder is a top 5 coach in the National Basketball Association basketball league?
I said NBA league, so that'd be National Basketball Association
NBA.
league.
You said NBA basketball league.
I said NBA league, sir. We had the film.
We do have the
But
film. I'm glad you said that.
just to clean up the mess of questions and have some more answers. I'm going to give the Hawks by the end of the trade deadline. We better have a clearer path to the future, and we shouldn't be surrounded by so many questions.
By the end of the trade,
that is like the midway point. So we should have an answer about what we're gonna do if we're gonna tank per se, or if we're gonna compete for our championship. And
I think tanking is out of the equation. I think we had the team to compete for a championship. We just have to get the stepping stones in order. But Chase, I think that is a fantastic New Year's resolution because
there's also
I am tired of guessing of what the future looks like for Atlanta. I just want to know.
There wouldn't be any point of tanking if we're going to get a high draft pick anyway because of New Orleans.
Exactly. But Joyner, what's your New Year's resolution?
I'm somewhat in the same realm of Chase, but I'm not more worried about. I'm sort of like accepted of the fact that we might trade Trae Young.
Oh, for sure. We need to.
Yeah.
Because we have to kill Alexander Walker, he's starting more games than Trae now, and he's been playing and he's been filling his role, filling in his shoes dare I say perfectly. I'm more worried about Zachary Ricochet. He's only in year 2. And
good point.
And yes, we took him with the first pick. Yes, he should be making improvements, and he has been. He's been making some improvements, but he's not where the team wants him to be.
No,
and I think. And I just think it's Quinn not being confident in winning, and I think it's Quinn not being confident in Zachary, and that's why he's not letting Zachary close some of these games. He's putting Luke Kennard in those shoes as well. So I just think that part of it is Quinn is killing his confidence in a way, and yes, he's in year 2 with I don't think we should. I personally don't think that we should be giving up on Zachary quite yet. I think we give him one more year, and then maybe year 3, if we do when he's still is struggling, then we trade him. But I don't like the idea of sending him to Dallas to pair up with Cooper Flag and get Anthony Davis in return. That's not what I want. So,
I'm gonna.
My New Year's resolution is to find out what we're doing with Zachary Ricochet, because, like I said before, I bought his jersey back in January of last year, dang near a year ago. I want him on the team because I'm tired of buying Hawks jerseys every year, expecting them to pan out. When in reality, they're just going to get traded or leaving free agency or retired.
Dude, I had that same problem. I had that same bad luck when it comes to my Atlanta Falcons jerseys, which is why I refuse to buy another one until I know we have a stabilized future. But I'm actually going to piggyback off of you, Joyner, and what Chase said for my New Year's resolution, because I think what you said is true, Joyner. And I don't know if Quinn Snyder is destroying Zachary's confidence, but I definitely have not liked the way that he has rotated Zachary in and out as of late. Now, it has looked better over the last few games. I feel like he has been putting Zachary on the right floor, surrounded by the right playmakers for him to be at his best. But to piggyback off of both of you guys, because I think you guys brought up great points, my New Year's resolution for the Atlanta Hawks is for the Atlanta Hawks to just rip the Band-Aid off. And what that means is exactly what y'all think it means. Get rid of Trae Young. Um, I'm sorry. Listen, Trae Young, offensively, he is still proven to be one of the best playmaking scorers in the NBA, but he is a defensive liability. In the state of the team defensively right now, there is no perfect world where Trae Young mixes in with our defensive mechanisms where it benefits us. Now, Trae Young is going to be a defensive liability no matter where he goes, but when he's under the right system around the right players, there's avenues and ways you can work around that. But as of right now, where Trae Young is with the Atlanta Hawks, there's no way what he brings to the floor offensively in terms of his elite playmaking style that's going to be worth the defensive liability on the other end of the court, because it's always going to be a 5-on-4. And that's why I think our defense looks so much better when he's not on the court, because it doesn't force us to play that 2-on-1 zone defense to pick up for Trae Young slack. It's kind of like, and I feel like the reason why the Hawks are taking so long to trade him is I feel like a little bit does have to do with the fact that the Atlanta Hawks are treating this like a bad relationship. Like you think you like a girl so much, so you don't want to break up with her, even though you know the relationship is not worth it at the end. I feel like that's the mindset that the Hawks are having with Trae Young. I feel like you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and understand it's better for both parties. And I know you said you're going to be a little bit more patient on Zachary Richardson Joyner, but I think it's time to say the same thing about Zachary. I think his upside is really good, but I don't think he fits the Hawks system. And I think Quinn Snyder is trying to find ways to work around that, and it's hurting him more than he's helping him. And I would rather Zachary go somewhere where he can succeed in the right platform, as opposed to Quinn Snyder trying to squeeze out all the juice that Zachary does not have in Atlanta.
And actually, now that I think about it, I, as much as it pains me to do this because I bought his jersey, I guess I have to agree with you because I gotta remember that we don't have the same GM that drafted him. We have a different guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
I don't know if y'all saw this clip during the Knicks game. It was towards the end of the Knicks game.
Oh, I did.
When Quinn Snyder pulled Zachary Richardson out of the game late in the
Yep.
fourth quarter, Zachary was livid. On his way to the bench, he had words with Quinn Snyder. And then as he got to the end of the bench, he turned around and started getting in the face of one of their assistant coaches, so much so that Mo Gay had to get up and hold Zachary back. And then Zachary just flew his towel and his little blue little seat thing, just slammed it to the ground and sat to the end of the bench quietly, which just shows you the state that Zachary Richardson. There's obviously a disagreement between him and the coaches in terms of how should he be used. And I don't really blame either side because, I mean, Zachary Richardson knows his potential. I think we all do. But it's just a matter of how does he fit in with this team? Who exactly on the floor do we need to pair him with where he's at his full potential? And at what point in the game should he be playing and not be playing? And I feel like with the first season and a half of Zachary, those are just questions we don't really have the answers to. And it's a hard thing to battle. I think our coaching staff is trying. Zachary's trying. It's just nothing's clicking. It's a hard puzzle to piece together.
And it does suck because the last half of last season, Zachary looked so well. And you know that that animal is still in him somewhere. It's just things are rapidly changing in this organization, and it's going to continue to change. And it's going to make the air more foggy for Zachary going forward. But speaking of going forward, let's go ahead and jump into our first game to get into today. And that is going to be the dreaded game in Oklahoma City. Trae Young's homecoming. Even though Trae Young did not participate in this game,
I don't think it was dreaded. We played good. We played good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean dreaded going into the matchup.
Yeah.
Because obviously things went better than we thought it was going to, but nobody wants to play the Thunder because they're the defending champs for a reason, and they are well on their way to potentially, I don't want to stretch it, but potentially break the Warriors 73-9 record just as long as they don't keep running into San Antonio, because it seems like that is their only kryptonite. But let's just break down what happened on that dreaded Monday night loss. Now, it resulted in a 140 to 129 loss for Atlanta. And honestly, this game to me tells you a lot about where both teams are right now. So, just to start off, because obviously there's a lot that went right for Atlanta. And this was more so on the offensive end. And I'm sure you guys could tell after I said the Thunder scored 140. But this was one of the Hawks' better shooting nights of the season because we shot 25 for 54 from the 3-point line. That's right. We put up 54 3-point shots. But we shot 46%. And that's why this game continued to stay competitive deep into the fourth quarter. And I want to get a huge shout out to a guy we're going to be shouting out a lot in this episode, and that is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He had a career type night where he put up 30 points, which included that absurd 45-foot buzzer beater he had to end the first quarter. And then Onyeka Okongwu, another guy we're going to be bringing up a lot in this episode, was fantastic. Posted a 26-14 rebound double-double. And Luke Kennard, another guy who is making a surprise 2026 run right now, finally hit a lot of timely shots that kept the Hawks within striking distance. And even late, let's just go and throw him out there since we've already talked about him a lot. Zachary Richardson knocked down a big three in the fourth quarter that cut the lead to 4. 129 to 125 with 5 minutes to go. We were in stride of winning this game with 5 minutes to go. But of course, where there is right, there is wrong. And this is what went wrong. And it's the same story that I feel like we keep coming back to. That is interior defense. Oklahoma City had a ridiculous 70 points in the paint compared to Atlanta, who just had 36 points. And that gap is, to me, what truly decided the game. Because the Thunder, they blew the game open really early in the third quarter because they went on that massive 30-11 run, which was sparked by none other than the defending MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then Lou Dort had a monster game. And Atlanta just simply had no answers to OKC where we could match their physicality inside the paint. So, like I said, same story there, but I'm going to flip it to you first, Joyner. What do you think really deteriorated the Hawks' chances of winning this game?
I mean, like you said. Well, like you said. I mean, our paint defense. You know, letting that and when I believe everyone struggles against the Thunder, the fouls, particularly on a certain point guard, may not on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who shot 7 3, who again led the team in free throw shots with 7, made all 7. I mean, just I don't understand. This is why, I believe, Shai's play style is the worst in the league. He just gets a foul every time he drives the basket and gets free points at the free throw line. And
he is a foul merchant.
Yeah, exactly. He's a foul merchant, which is why I believe he shouldn't have won MVP last year. That's because he basically got most of his points from the free throw line. But I mean, I guess going back to our paint defense, Chet Holmgren had 24 points, and when you're allowing that, Shai had 30, Shai had 39, Chet Holmgren had 24, and J Dub had 20. So when your big three is dropping that, you can't really do nothing but pray. But yeah, so it's basically our paint defense and fouling, which
same old story.
We have a foul merchant. What are you gonna do? It's the
And
ref.
of course,
It's the refs, but
And of course, rebounding. We got absolutely out rebounded like per usual. I mean, this is just a simple case.
yeah,
Andrew
Chase.
already.
But you know what? They have a 7'1" guy on the team. If we had a 7'2" guy that played consistently, you know what?
That's
We would match him in rebounding. But you know
Yeah,
what?
that
like Kristaps
that
Porzingis. How awesome would that be?
Yeah.
that that's exactly what I was about to say. Actually, is the fact
Sorry, my
that
bad.
no, you're good. You're good. I mean, you already knew where this was going. I mean, the fact when you have a guy like Chet Holmgren, and I mean, a Congrew's a great rebounder for what he is, but he's not. He's
He's
one
only
of
like
the
what 6'9".
yeah, he's one of the the Kill Alexander Walker was talking about a Kongu the other day and was talking about how he's known as Big Go in Atlanta, but in retrospect he's one of the smaller big men in the league. So when you're going with a guy like Chet Holmgren, and especially this has been the case every time we played New York this year, Robinson. When you go up guys like that, that's more physical, taller, has a better build. A Kongu's gonna get outmatched, and that's no diss on a Kongu. That's just the way it is in the NBA. That's just the way it's outsized and just played. So, that definitely played a factor. But I mean, this is just a simple case of the Thunder sticking with their identity. They're not a big 3-point shooting team. They live and die by the inside scoring. And why wouldn't you when you have guys like Chet Holmgren, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a mid-range merchant as well as a free throw merchant because you can't lick him without getting a foul call. And the only one who really did anything beyond the arc was Cason Wallace, the brother to some random guy named Keaton Wallace. I don't know what team he plays for. He's in the NBA.
You're literally talking about the future goat of the league. So watch
He,
yourself.
he's not. I'm not sure what team he's on. He's somewhere in the NBA. He might be in the G League somewhere, or he might be overseas. Actually, now that I think
Yeah.
about it. But
Israel, perhaps?
Anyways, brother Kean Wallace, he shot 5 for 6 from deep, and the bench was absolutely useless from deep. I mean, Alex Caruso had a great shot, hit 2 threes, but he had a field day inside. Everybody else was crap from deep. So this was the Thunder just sticking with their identity, sticking with what works, and they got 140 out of it. While the Atlanta Hawks, on the other hand, you mentioned Andrew, dropped 25 threes, one of their best 3-point shooting games of the season, and that's what crowd them in. There was hardly any inside defense, and while that Alexander Walker is a great inside scorer, especially a great contact finisher, there's only so much you can do with a guy like Chet Holmgren guarding the paint. I mean, that's literally the new Stifle Tower because Rudy Gobert is so weak and soft now. So the Hawks, how to take their talent to the outside, and it worked. You talked about Luke Kennard having a huge stretch beyond the arc late in the game, that huge A1 three. Zachary Ricochet hit a really big, tough three at the end, towards the end of the game that got the Hawks right back in it. There were multiple moments, especially in the fourth quarter, where the Hawks could have won the game, but it was Shea Gilgeous-Alexander using his inside mid range to put the nail in the coffin, and it's just what you have to deal with when playing the Thunder. Like that was given who the Hawks were missing. I feel like that's the best game the Hawks could have played. The only thing we could have bet on was somehow shutting down Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren from using what they're identified to use in the NBA, and it just didn't happen. So it's not one of those losses you can hang your head low. I'm honestly really proud of how the Hawks performed, but given how much we were losing, I felt like it's the best the Hawks could have done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
and you talked a lot. You made a good point in talking about the big picture, and the big picture was just that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is continuing to prove why he's the front runner of the league right now. Like you said, dropping 39 points, he shot 15 from 24 from the field, and he was a perfect 7 for 7 at the line, which is like you guys said where he seems to live most of the time. And he scored 20. He has now scored 20 or more points in 104 straight games. That is 104 straight games where he scored at least 20 points. That is unbelievable, and that is MVP level dominance. Joyner, I know you said you don't believe he deserved it because of how many times he went to the free throw line last year, but I think he absolutely deserved it for going the entire season never scoring less than 20 points. And to be fair, James Harden was the exact same way when he won his MVP. He lived at the free throw line
Yeah,
that
that's
season as
true.
well. But Chet Holmgren, like you guys said, at 24 points, 9 boards, and 3 blocks. He was a defensive unit inside the paint for OKC. And then You talked about Joyner, Jalen Williams nearly posting that triple double. But the big picture is what you said, Chase. The Hawks were extremely shorthanded without Trae Young, which was no news to us because we've been without him for a couple games. But the biggest piece, Jalen Johnson, our best player, our triple double finder, was not there. Kristaps Porzingis, like you said, Chase, would have been a big help inside the paint. But like you said, despite the key misses, the effort was still present. But the team after this game now extended their losing streak to a dreaded 7 games. And until the Hawks can find a way to defend the paint and survive those momentum swings that OKC kept pursuing late in the game, shooting nice like we did from the three-point line is never going to be enough to win a game in the NBA. You have to find some way to play sustainable defense. And on the flip side, I mean, the Thunder look every bit like the best team in the NBA, which is no surprise there. But let's talk about a much-needed bounce-back win for the Atlanta Hawks on New Year's Eve as we took down the Minnesota Timberwolves, who got Anthony Edwards back a few games ago, 126-102, like I said, on New Year's Eve to snap that brutal 7-game losing streak. Jordan, I'm going to flip it to you first.
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you, Chase.
I was going to say, I was hoping you wouldn't move on yet. There was one more point I wanted to make about the Thunder game. And I want, like you mentioned, the point of this and Jalen Johnson, I mentioned that the reason that I think the Hawks really lacked in inside scoring is because our biggest inside scoring piece, Jalen Johnson, wasn't there. I mentioned how great of a contact finisher Nickeil Alexander-Walker is, but Jalen Johnson, I think, is the even better one. And that's if the Hawks had Jalen Johnson, then maybe we could have added a little more inside scoring than we did, and it wouldn't have been so lopsided, and maybe that could have made the big difference.
Absolutely.
So so getting into this much needed win against the Timberwolves. So we come back home, and we this is a little Ant-Man homecoming because as we all know, Anthony Edwards went to the University of Georgia, and he put up a solid game. 30 points in 33 minutes, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Julius Randle, 19 points, 7 rebounds. But that was pretty much it because the rest of the team pretty much stunk to bed. But Jalen Johnson with a nice 34 point double, 34 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Onyeka Okongwu had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Zachary Shea had finished with 9 points, 4 rebounds. The Null had sort of had a quiet night, but but that's okay. We know he's been scoring a lot for us as of recently. So it's just okay to have a quiet night once in a while.
Which that was his first game against his former team, so you kind of expected a little bigger night. Yeah, because that's where we got him from, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
That was the first time we played Minnesota?
Since getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker, yeah.
Actually. Oh, shoot, you're right.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you looking at me like that for, Jess?
Wait, what is happening?
I don't know. I was just confused because I didn't realize that was like Nas' first game playing against Minnesota since we got him. I didn't realize that.
For some reason, I can hear Jordan just fine, but I cannot hear Andrew at all.
What?
You can't hear me?
I can't hear Andrew at all.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
My stream, we apologize for technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on my end, but I'm having so many technical difficulties on my side of the stream.
I see.
So
can you hear me?
We'll just roll with it. It's fine.
Can you hear me now?
You still hear? Okay. Okay, so I would just translate to Andrew. Okay, Andrew, I would just translate for you.
John might have to translate for me. I don't know why, but I cannot hear Andrew at all.
So yeah. We also had Kristaps Porzingis back. off the bench with 16 points. Canona had 15, and then Craigie had 6. But Chase, I guess I'll swing over to you. Well, what are
Uh,
your thoughts on this game?
John, I think you said it all. I think the main reason was just how much the Hawks shut down the Timberwolves defensively. Anthony Edwards, like you said, in his Atlanta homecoming, had a phenomenal night. Uh, Julius Randle, I couldn't think of his name for a minute. Julius Randle added 19. And then other than that, there was one other guy that got 10 points, but everybody else didn't even touch double figures. So it was really just a one-man show. And, we knew a couple weeks ago the Atlanta Hawks had a team meeting, just the players only, to kind of talk about the struggles, but nothing really changed. So right before this Timberwolves game, we had another team meeting, but this time it was with Quinn Snyder and our GM. And this, to me, was the best game the Hawks played defensively. Maybe the next game was better, but back-to-back defensive bangers is something we haven't seen from the Hawks all year. And it was the way we defended the three. We were closing out like we've never done all season. And that is a constant problem. We've been screaming for Quinn Snyder, the Atlanta Hawks, to fix, and we finally saw it happen against the Timberwolves, and we rebounded so much better, limiting second chance opportunities, which has been another killer for the Atlanta Hawks all season long. And we were just playing such good basketball, a version and a brand of Hawks basketball we haven't seen in such a long time that even Bob Rathbun was just begging the NBA to skip the halftime show so the Hawks don't get cold, because we were just loving seeing how well we were playing, especially in the second quarter where the Atlanta Hawks ultimately took control, outscoring Minnesota 37-23 and taking a 70-49 lead at the break. But thankfully for the Atlanta Hawks, we came out in the second half swinging just as much as we did in the first half. And it got so bad that the Timberwolves head coach actually pulled all of his starters towards the end of the game, which is something we never thought possible when playing a game like Minnesota. And it was just so well, like you emphasized, John, having
I
Kristaps
would
Porzingis back. And Quinn Snyder said the plainest thing about Kristaps at the end of the game, which I thought was hilarious. He just said it's really good to have him back because he's a really good player. Like, of course he's a good player, Quinn Snyder. We would love to have him back, but sadly he's dealing with this heart issue that's just keeping him more and more sidelined. We're praying he can get some answers there. But in the meantime, any chance we can use him until he's gone, there's no telling how much longer he'll be on the team. We're happy to have him.
I like what you said about the Timberwolves coach. I think it was so funny how the broadcast, every time the Hawks would go on these massive runs, the broadcast would always flip it over to Chris Finch, and he had the funniest facial reactions every time the Hawks were on these big runs. Like, he was dumbfounded about what the crowd was going on with the Timberwolves, because he thought not surprisingly, he thought going into this game, the Hawks are a 7-game losing streak. We're catching them at a good time. We just got Anthony Edwards back a few games ago, and he's finding his stride again. We should get an easy win to cap off the year, but it was the complete opposite. And I think, starting off, I think we got to go back to what Jordan was talking about. Jalen Johnson, who obviously missed the Oklahoma City game, was just flat out dominant, man. 34 points, 10 rebounds. He had 6 assists, and he's the one that set the tone early, which is exactly what you expect from your star player after missing a game. And from that point on, Atlanta continued to take control in the second quarter, where we outscored Minnesota 37-23, and then we turned and closed the game, closed the quarter with a 70-point first half. And from there, like you said, Chase, even though Bob Rathbone wanted to skip the halftime break, like you said, Chase, Hawks basketball was there the rest of the way. And the supporting cast deserves so much credit too, because Okongwu added 17 points. Dyson Daniels filled the stat sheet with 11 and 8 boards plus 9 assists with 2 steals and 2 blocks. He had a loaded stat line and was 2 boards and 1 assist away from a triple-double. And then Luke Kennard came back and joined the party, gave up 15 points off the bench. And the balance that we saw from the Atlanta Hawks was something we just haven't seen much during this 7-game losing streak. And like you said, I'm just going to give my emphasis on the huge storyline. That was the turn of Kristaps Porzingis after he missed 10 games. Obviously, like you said, Chase, you talked about his heart condition. Just like Trae Young when he came back from his injury in Charlotte, he was put on that 20-minute bench restriction, which is exactly what Kristaps was put on, and he put it up 16 points in 17 minutes. And it took him a couple shots in the game to find his stride, but once he did, he was your typical Kristaps Porzingis. And you can feel with Kristaps on the court, you could just feel the spacing for the Atlanta Hawks just change the moment he checked in. And then Quinn Snyder, like you said, Chase, emphasized how good it was to have him back. And this was just an element of the Hawks game that we have desperately missed. But then you got to look at Minnesota because there is a lot that went wrong for Minnesota. They just didn't have enough offense to keep up with the Atlanta Hawks. Jordan talked about Anthony Edwards had 30 points in 33 minutes, but 24 of those 30 points came in the first half. He only scored 6 points in the second half when the Timberwolves needed him most. And that's because the Atlanta Hawks defensively decided to load up on him when there was nothing else. Because Julius Randle scored 19, but there was no other Timberwolf player that finished with double figures other than Rudy Gobert. No, I'm sorry, not even Rudy Gobert. He just had 11 rebounds. He only had 6 points. And that's why Chris Finch ended up pulling all of his starters early, because once it got to about 8 minutes left of the fourth quarter, the game was over. But this, like you said, Chase, going into the new year, this just felt like a complete reset game. And Atlanta got their 6th win at home, and I believe that was their 17th home game of the season. And we finally got that star-level performance from Jalen Johnson with Kristaps back in the rotation. And we won comfortably again without Trae Young being there, who missed his 2nd straight game due to that quad injury he's still trying to recover from. So coming out this game, Quinn Snyder's main message going into Madison Square Garden to start off 2026 was to keep climbing out of that hole that they dug with that 7-game losing streak. And that game was the perfect blueprint that the Hawks needed going forward. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about before I move on to what happened in MSG?
No, I think I'm good. Chase, you got anything?
No, I think I'm good.
I keep forgetting Chase can't hear me. I was like, why was Chase just staring at me like that?
Yeah, no, yeah, my bad. So I guess
it's so funny because I know Andrew's talking, so I'm just sitting here like nodding my head, even though I have no idea what he's saying.
Andrew, Andrew, try muting yourself and try unmuting yourself.
Hello?
I don't know why I cannot hear you. I can hear John just fine.
It might be your head. I don't know.
This is weird. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. I don't know what's going on my end, but I'm having like all the technical issues.
Really quick, do you want to leave and come back in real quick?
Yeah, try that.
What'd he say?
Oh, I can't hear me. I keep forgetting, bro.
So try leaving the stream and then coming back in. Try leaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, try that.
Bro, I keep forgetting Chase can't hear me, bro. I was like, what? I was like, what is he doing? Like, is he not listening? And I keep forgetting he can't hear me, bro. Dude, it's so funny having a translator. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, of course.
Hopefully, whenever he comes back, whatever the problem is gets sorted. That is weird. I can't put my finger on that. Because I've done everything I can do on my end. I've unplugged my mic. I've plugged it back in. I've muted myself. Here he is. Please tell me you can hear me.
It's back!
Hey!
Let's go!
John's a genius!
It was actually my idea, but Jordan had to translate it to you.
Oh.
Whoa. When we actually, I was had the idea to, but you beat me to it. So I was thinking that too. You beat me to it, but
great minds think alike.
I heard John say it, so he gets the credit.
Wow. You know what? All right, guys, moving on. I think I liked it better this way. I think I liked it better when Chase couldn't hear me.
Great, now I can't hear Chase.
No, he's lying.
No.
I was about to say, there's no way. I was about to say, hold on, what is going on?
You were about to see me crash out, bro. You were about to see me crash out, dude. I was about to say, there's no way.
2026 Talking ATL Hawks is off to a banging start, fellas.
I'm telling you, bro. We are going through the motions. But,
we are getting hit with all kinds of technical difficulties.
On to this Knicks game. Andrew, why don't you start it off since Chase couldn't hear you?
Well, I'll bring it in and then I'll dish it off to Chase since I kind of talked about I was the one that gave my last thoughts, but just to
Oh
kind of
yeah,
set
I
the
totally heard you say all of that. By the way.
yeah, I know you did. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great listen. It was a great listen. But for the ones that did hear me, just to set the foundation for the Hawks and next game, Atlanta. Like I said, using that blueprint they had in that Minnesota game, their only goal was to make it two straight wins and continue to climb out of that hole that they dug on that 7 game losing streak. Now, obviously, it wasn't exactly what we wanted because Trae Young was again missing the game due to that quad injury. And it kind of felt like this might be the last time Trae Young gets that enemy art game with the Atlanta Hawks against the Knicks and MSG. So this is something we really wanted to see, but he didn't play. It's unfortunate. But what isn't unfortunate is that the Atlanta Hawks won 111 to 99 in Madison Square Garden, which, fun fact, is the very first time this season the New York Knicks was held to less than 100 points. Now, it is important to note that the Knicks were missing Karl Anthony Towns and Josh Hart, but all I hear are excuses because the Atlanta Hawks are missing Trey and Jalen Johnson and still almost beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I don't want to hear anything from those Knicks fans. But Chase, why don't you talk us through how the Hawks were able to get such an impressive win in one of the hardest stages to play in the NBA? Bro, he's doing that on purpose, bro.
Yeah, I know I am.
I'm not following you there, bro. I'm not
That's
doing
what he made himself. That's what he made himself.
I was about to say,
I was
bro,
totally
not
joking.
again. Nah,
Okay, I
bro,
was totally joking. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, this was very similar to the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and it was very similar defensively. Now, I know, like you said, Andrew, they can say all they want about we have Karl Anthony Towns, or Mitchell Robinson, who the first time we played the New York, or the last time we played the Knicks, when they came to Atlanta, he was a rebounding machine.
Mitchell Robinson playing that game.
No, he didn't.
Remember he started for Karl Anthony Towns?
No,
I thought he played in that game. Am I tripping?
he did not. We thought he was start. He thought we were starting, and what we
Yeah,
thought
no,
was
yeah, no. Chase is right. He didn't start. It
Wow.
was.
So
It was.
they
Like, it
were
was. Huck Porty.
yeah, it was Huck Porty that started. We confused him when we were watching the game. We at first thought that was Mitchell Robinson, and then we found out that was not Mitchell Robinson.
so
So
they
that
were
was
without
a
Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. Wow. Okay.
This
so.
is this a G League call? He's averaging 1.3 rebounds. This must be a G League call up.
And I've never
Like
heard of the
contracts, I
guy.
guess.
I've never
He's
heard of
got
the
to be
guy.
a G League call up. He's got to be.
Yeah.
So that might very well be the case because this guy is unknown and his stats.
His stats are that bad.
Chase disappeared. I think he's coming back. I don't know, dude. Chase is just
Bro.
going through the motions right now.
I can't hear Andrew.
Oh my gosh. I just removed him and I'm hoping that he's gonna come back and try again. Oh brother.
When's he gonna get his computer fixed?
He's not he's using his phone right now because he broke his leg.
I have no idea what's going on, but I mean,
Start using a computer for next week. Start using a computer, dude.
So the only reason I'm using my phone is because my computer doesn't have a face cam.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm using my phone. I need to get a computer with a face cam, dude. But this has never happened. Like I've never had this many technical difficulties in one pocket. But we're almost done, so we're gonna push through, y'all. I promise. Mitchell Robinson, yeah. So, I mean, it kind of evened out, though, because, I mean, no Mitchell Robinson, no Karl Anthony Towns. Those are two already the best rebounders on the New York Knicks because, Mitchell Robinson comes off the bench in relief for Cat most of the time. So, they're always having one of the best rebounds in the league on the court. So, it's huge to eliminate both of those, especially when you're a team like the Atlanta Hawks and you already struggle so much at rebounding. And it kind of evened out because Kristaps was back. He collected 8 rebounds and that was about the only thing he did because sadly Kristaps did not shoot the ball well at all. But we also didn't have to use Mo Gay. We kept our bench pretty fresh because, we didn't have to worry about rebounding. We were outsizing them pretty much the entire game, and it showed. And then same thing like the Timberwolves game. The way we were closing out beyond the 3-point line was phenomenal. So much so that the New York Knicks shot 21%. They shot 9 for 42 from deep. One of the worst 3-point pursuing games the Atlanta Hawks have forced all season. Actually, I think that is the worst by a large margin. And that also proved the fact that Karl Anthony Towns wasn't there, because he's usually one of the next best 3-point shooters. He's obviously the best 3-point shooting big man in the league. So that's just another factor that helped the Atlanta Hawks tremendously. But it was just how well we were just outpacing the New York Knicks. It seemed like we were just keeping up in step with them. We were always one step ahead. We were attacking the inside well. It was nice to have Jalen Johnson back from his illness. Like you've been mentioning, you still know Trae Young, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker went out there and had a great game. Luke Kennard, once again, had a phenomenal game off the bench, hitting 4 threes, back-to-back in the third quarter, which has really set the Atlanta Hawks apart. The only time the Atlanta Hawks truly struggled was in the fourth quarter, and it was just a matter of us not scoring. We were just rushing the offense when we didn't have to, taking horrible shots when we didn't have to. We were just leaving that door wide open, very similar to that December 23rd game against the Chicago Bulls, which ultimately led to the Chicago Bulls coming back and winning that game. And for a moment, we were kind of worried that the same thing was going to happen there, but we eventually cleaned up our issues, and the Atlanta Hawks ultimately pulled out the win. Just back-to-back great defensive performances. Something that I don't know exactly what was said in that team meeting with the players, the GM, and Quinn Snyder, but on the defensive end, it worked to perfection because we were just playing a completely different level of defense. John, what you got for us?
I mean, I don't really have anything. I mean, I think you both said said it. Said it well. I think the defense and the on the point of the paint was what did it for us, really. That's true. And 3-point percentage too. We held them. We held them to shooting under 10 3-pointers while shooting 44 from 42 42 of them total. Sorry, I can't speak. It's like we're holding them to like shooting like that from 3. I think you're gonna come up with a win, and that's what we did. So,
and yeah. I do, before I shoot to you, Andrew, I do want to add one more little tidbit. Congratulations, Atlanta Hawks. We became the first and only team in the NBA so far this year to hold the New York Knicks to under 100 points.
Could you not hear me again? Because I did say that when I introduced this game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually didn't hear. No, I was listening. I just straight didn't hear you say that. My bad.
No, yeah, I did. I said we were the only team to hold the Knicks to under 100. That's fine. Hey,
my bad. I missed that. That's my fault.
Hey, it was so nice. You had to say it twice. Can't
there we go.
Can't hate it. But and I think Jalen Johnson, he kind of just did a little bit of everything in this game, like you guys said. It was a triple double, but it was a quiet triple double. But it was still his 7th of the season with 18 points, 11 assists.
Oh no, that's preseason.
Oh yeah.
I never mind. Cause I'm looking at never mind. Cause I was looking at the Knicks schedule, and I was looking at the just to confirm. Well, they played in Abu Dhabi. They had 99 points, but that's preseason, and they also scored 100 against the Knicks and against the Timberwolves in overtime. So yeah, y'all are right about that. So I was just double checking y'all.
Hey, he's a fact check guy. Sometimes you got fact checked. But it was Jalen Johnson's 7th triple-double of the season, and he was, again, just like the Timberwolves game, the true engine that kind of got the Hawks going once we settled in. Because if you remember, we were trailing this game very early. The Knicks opened up the first quarter on an 11-2 run, but then Atlanta closed the quarter on an even stronger run, and we never trailed again. And I think just like the Timberwolves, we just had a lot of offensive balance. That was a really huge factor in this game. Nikhil Alexander-Walker led the team with 23 points. Okongwu added 22 and played a great defensive game. He had that really clutch block and steal on Jalen Brunson that led to a transition bucket in the fourth quarter. Like you said, Chase, when the Hawks were kind of losing momentum and we were fearing that we were going to blow another game, that block and steal and that transition score really kind of paved the way for the Hawks to close the coffin. But Zachary Richardson and Luke Kennard both scored 12 apiece. And I think the common theme between the Timberwolves and the Knicks game, or one of the many common themes, is that there's just a lot of depth that showed up in the third quarter where, we had Nikhil Alexander-Walker's driving layup that pushed the lead to the largest it was of the night when the Hawks went up 94-68. And the Hawks did this again without Trae Young, like I mentioned before. He missed his third straight game with that quad bruise. But the New York Knicks, they made their runs. There were runs in this game, but the Atlanta Hawks always had an answer. Especially in the fourth quarter when Luke Kennard buried back-to-back threes, which shut the Knicks down when shut the Knicks 11-0 run down. And I pay a lot of homage to the Hawks bench, especially Quinn Snyder, because every time the Knicks kind of seemed like they were making a little bit of a streaky run, Quinn Snyder always knew that he had those timeouts in his back pocket, and he would utilize them to analyze the situation, look at the last few possessions, figure out defensively what broke down and what the Hawks need to fix, and we always came off the timeout better than we were before. And that's something that I really admire about Quinn Snyder. Jalen Brunson, he's always annoying to play against because it seems like he misses the open shots, but he always buries the shots when he's got a guy breathing down his neck. He scored 24 points, but it felt like a lot more than that. OG Anunoby had 19 points and 10 rebounds. Mikal Bridges had 18. But the Knicks never really had sustained momentum. And then they had that one G League dude that Jordan was talking about. He did grab 17 rebounds, which is very impressive for a guy who evidently came from the G League. But this win mattered a lot for Atlanta because it really flipped the script from what the Hawks were narrating after that 7-game losing streak, and it turned it into a 2-game win streak. And you could, like you said, Chase, it's the two best basketball games the Hawks have played all season long. We had improved defensive focus. We had that another statement performance from Jalen Johnson, who is just a do-it-all guy for the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks just seemed like they found stabilization with a new formula, like you said, Chase, after that meeting with Quinn Snyder and the GM, because we defended well, we shared the ball well, and we just trusted in the depth that the Hawks had around the starting lineup. But then this was the first game of a back-to-back because afterwards we went to Toronto, Canada, home of Nikhil Alexander-Walker. So this was Nikhil Alexander-Walker's homecoming game.
Not only him, I think someone else too on our team, right?
I think you're right. I think someone else is Canadian. I can't remember exactly who it is.
I just know Nas Canadian, but you guys are probably right. I'm probably missing somebody. But this is where I don't want to say I'm discouraged again, but I am certainly very upset of how defensively what went so well in our previous two games didn't seem to translate into this Toronto game. And I know Chase is going to disagree with me a little bit, and I do understand because the Raptors were dropping a lot of ridiculous shots that the Hawks were defending very well.
Caleb Houston. It's Canadian.
Oh, which Caleb Houston did come in at the end of the game during garbage time.
When we were down when we were down by 20.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, he did get to play at his home country, I guess. But yeah, the Atlanta Hawks, after those massive back-to-back wins, hit a big brick wall in Toronto, and we lost 134 to 117 to the Raptors on Saturday night. In the first of a back-to-back game against the Toronto Raptors, because we will play them again tomorrow night. But Joyner, I'm gonna let you start first.
Guys,
Man,
today just keeps getting worse, y'all.
what happened? What was
Yeah.
that noise?
I just broke my Spencer Strider and his dog Kipnis bobblehead.
I
No,
still have an open mind. Like, I still have mine.
you killed Spencer Strider's dog.
I sat down, I kicked my dresser, and it fell off my dresser and broke.
I was wondering where that noise was.
Mine's still in the box. Mine's still in the box. I still have an open mind.
SMH,
Mine
man.
too, Jordan, mine too.
This day is really testing me, Phils.
Hey, man.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, Andrew, this game was just a brick wall, just a big Canadian and a brick wall. It's almost like Justin Trudeau or whoever the prime minister over there is building a wall for Canada. Because that's what we ran into was a wall.
What a crazy analogy.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
whatever he.
I mean,
the Great Wall of Canada really hit hard, man. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah. So getting into the stats, Jalen Johnson had 30 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, just 1 assist short of a double double. Zachary Shea didn't really shoot the ball well, but he got some rebounds, so good job on the boards there. Oneka Kongu had a sort of a bad performance, only racking up 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Nikhil Alexander Walker coming back to Canada, 31 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but 6 turnovers. That's just awful. And
Just
then
wait till we get to the fourth quarter.
But then Dyson Daniels coming in with the double-double, had 20 points, 12 assists, and 2 steals. Off the bench, it was just Vic Krejci and some dude, Keaton Wallace, I think.
Oh yeah, he's only the greatest of all time.
Some random G League call up.
Yeah, for sure.
His jersey will be in the Raptors. Don't worry, boys.
Yeah. But those guys. Those were the only guys that really showed up for us off the bench. But for Toronto, Brandon Ingram scored 29 points, 9 rebounds. RJ Barrett had 29 points, 4 rebounds. Scotty Barnes, the old Florida State boy, had 20 points, 7 rebounds, and Quickly had 15 points, and some dude, I'm not even going to pronounce his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Number 54 for Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pronounce his name.
It looks like Valanciunas.
Yeah.
No, not even that. Just I don't even know. But Jamal Shen at 10 points, and then my favorite guy personally on the Raptors, Grady Penis.
Yeah, that guy.
Grady Dick.
The best jersey swap guy in the league.
Yeah, he had 6 rebounds and 7 assists. I'm just kidding. We're going to leave that in 2026.
Bro.
7 points.
I'm about to say, wait a minute. No, he didn't.
Cancel him. Just a god awful performance by the Hawks. I think turnovers is what killed us. Honestly.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Basically turnovers killed us. So
this is where I kind of disagree with Andrew. I mean, defensively, it was just one of those frustrating games. Like, to me, I'm not ready to say that the Atlanta Hawks played a bad game defensively. I think, especially in terms of mid-range shooting, like Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett, and especially Brandon Ingram is, I think, the new age DeMar DeRozan. I mean, his mid-range shooting is just unbelievable. It doesn't matter how much you contest it. And they were just giving it to fall. Like, I remember me and Andrew were just sitting there, and we were just aggravated about how well we were contesting our shots, and they would just make it. And there was one point towards the end of the third quarter and at the start of the fourth quarter where they scored in like 9 possessions in a row. And I was like, they have to be getting close to some NBA record for most possessions in a row with a score because it was just ridiculous. And then and that was really true towards the second quarter. Like the Raptors had a really big second quarter where they just weren't missing, and the Atlanta Hawks were keeping pace with them though. And then they had a phenomenal end to the third quarter where they really put themselves in a comfortable position. And I really do feel like if we would have kept the momentum that we had at the end of the third quarter into the fourth, we could have won this game. But as Andrew and John was alluding to, we started the fourth quarter with 5 turnovers, and not only that, when we got those 5 turnovers and Raptors started to get separation, we hit instant panic mode and we took some terrible shots, especially Jalen Johnson, which I was really surprised. We all know, especially in the last month, one of the biggest parts of Jalen Johnson's game has become driving in and getting most of his points off of contested baskets inside because he's just become such a great contested inside scorer. But he did it so much so that he kind of used that and turned to that as like his panic mode shot. And he would drive in, just throw up some random off balance fadeaways that just didn't make any sense. And the Atlanta Hawks really lost their composure and had the worst fourth quarter they've had in a long time. And I also agree with all when you say it's concerning because that's kind of been like the constant issue for the Atlanta Hawks now. We all remember at the start of the season, the Atlanta Hawks were following this weird theme where we would just get off to bad starts. Like as soon as the ball tipped off, we were just in a hole early. But now that's not really the case anymore. We've kind of took on a new theme. Now our theme is we just play bad fourth quarters. Like you look at the game against the New York Knicks and now the Toronto Raptors and even the Oklahoma City Thunder. We lost those games because of the fourth quarter. We beat the Knicks, but we almost lost that game because of the fourth quarter. It's like the Atlanta Hawks figured out how to start the game, and now we don't know how to finish it. And that's just not a theme I want us to carry on. It's something we have to clean up quickly because we lose all momentum for some reason when we enter the fourth quarter, and it has cost us or almost cost us.
And before I get into my thoughts, Chase, I did want to bring this up. Just going back on, you were talking about how the Raptors had to be close to setting an NBA record. I went ahead and looked up what the NBA record was, but for some reason, it keeps telling me that the exact NBA record for most possessions in a row with at least one score is not found for some reason, which I feel like is not true. That's just what Google is telling
You
me.
mean ESPN can pull up some of the most bizarre and random stats, but
Yeah,
we can't find an actual legit one?
I'm sure there probably is somewhere. I just have to look harder. But what Google is telling me is Wilt Chamberlain um, achieved an incredible 126 possessions in a row with a score. So Wilt Chamberlain has the player record for most consecutive possessions with a score,
That's
which
crazy.
is interesting. And if you're curious as to who's the second on that list, is Nickeil Alexander-Walker is currently on a run with 105 possessions in a row with at least a score. So I don't know,
What?
but see, that doesn't make any sense because I don't know what that means. Because obviously, it's not talking about he scored in 100. He has scored in 105 straight possessions, but he's also missed shots. So I don't know what that means.
I'm confused.
It's not adding up. But anyways, I'm just gonna slide by that one because that
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. But the thing is, that's not even like Google's AI. That's just straight up Google, and I feel like that is so wrong. So I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I
means.
think they're misunderstanding your question.
Yeah, and I'm misunderstanding their answer.
that's
So
such a weird stat. That is such a weird. Okay, hard taking about like sports in general. There are like so many like random ass stats that they're like Twitter like announcing stuff that like I don't understand like why are you reporting this? Like why? It's
they're
not
bored.
And
But
like,
look,
and like, who's
ESPN
keeping
is
up with this?
ESPN will like it'll
like
show like it'll be like the pre.
what fat computer nerd is sitting in his basement finding this out like I think like half the people that like work at like ESPN or some like fat computer geeks like eating chips like sitting
What
in the
was
mom's basement, like just like randomly like finding these stats out and then
Way
posting them
too
on Twitter.
way too much time on their hands.
What was that? What was that? One stat it showed on ESPN that one time when that dude was shooting free throws. I think it was a college basketball game, and I think I'd have to find it.
I know what you're
Uh,
talking about.
I'll find it for next episode, but because I'll have to do some deep searching. But I'm kid you not, it was literally something along the lines like this player has averaged a certain amount of points since his dad left. Like that was
No,
the stat, or
no,
something about his dad, and it was like so
yeah.
bizarre.
He was
Like,
shooting
what are
free
you
throws.
talking
He was shooting free throws, and it literally just randomly pulled up a stat that said it's been like 157 days since he's seen his dad.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And
It
it's
was like,
like he's
why do we
buddy
need to
shooting
know that?
free
Why
throws.
would you post that on like national TV?
And
Like,
who's
that's so.
and who's counting? Who's counting how long it's been since he's seen his dad?
That had to be a troll, bro. I don't know. That is so bizarre. But yeah, going back to this game, yeah. Atlanta, like you said, Chase, we had a lot of right on the offensive end. And Nikhil Alexander Walker Jr. talked about it on his homecoming to Canada. Scored 31 points. Jalen Johnson complimented that with a 30 piece of his own. Dyson Daniels, man, had the best offensive game in terms of scoring and efficiency and playmaking that we have seen since he's joined the Atlanta Hawks. And his playmaking, he was kind of like the Trae Young in the absence of Trae Young, except he's just ironically our best defender because he was finding open teammates in a way that we haven't seen him do before. And he put up a very impressive 20 points, 12 assists, double double. And Atlanta had multiple guys cooking. And through 3 quarters, this was a very manageable game, like you guys said. But then, you've already mentioned it, Chase, but then you kind of look at what ultimately decided it. And it was that fourth quarter when Toronto opened the final period on a 16-0 run, turning a tight game into a 123-106 Raptors lead. In Atlanta, we missed 6 straight shots to start the quarter. And by the time the Hawks finally got out of that drought, the damage was already all but done, man. I mean, Toronto is now 17-1 this year when leading after the third quarter, and they continue to be our kryptonite, man. RJ Barrett, dude, freaking screw that guy. He has been one of the best acquisitions to Toronto, coming off the New York Knicks when he just really kind of lost his identity. He has really made a name for himself with the Raptors. And like you said, Chase, Brandon Ingram, those two guys were the big differences. Both of them scored 29 points. Barrett really ignited the Raptors in that fourth quarter run, and Ingram went 11 for 15 from the field. And like you said, man, every kind of shot he put up, you felt like would have been heavily contested on a 2K game. And then Scotty Barnes, go Knowles, 20 points. And Toronto's depth just outweighed what the Atlanta Hawks had to offer, man. And defensively, this was just, I know Chase kind of disagrees in some aspect, but it's kind of hard to ignore that this was such a major step back for Atlanta, because just after one night becoming the first team to hold the Knicks to under 100 points, the Hawks allowed 134 points, and now Atlanta has given up 125 or more points in each of their last 10 losses, which is horrific. And it shows you the inconsistency on defense continues to be the defining factor of this team. So, what the Hawks showed in this game is the Hawks can score with almost everyone, even without Trae Young not being on the court, who missed his fourth straight game with that quad bruise. But until Atlanta figures out how to sustain defensive intensity for all 4 quarters, nights like this is going to continue to happen, especially against teams who have constantly had our number, like the Toronto Raptors, who have now won 5 straight meetings against the Atlanta Hawks. And if there's any good news I'm going to pull from this game, it's the fact that we get another crack at it against the Raptors on Monday night, where hopefully we see some better defensive intensity down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
100%.
That's all I have to say. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add about that game before we make
I'm
our
good.
closing remarks.
I'm
I'm good.
good.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining me. It wasn't a sour week because, like Chase said, we went 2-2, and the good thing is we did end our 7-game losing streak, and we have played two of the best games we've played all season in this past week. So I don't want to say the Raptors game has killed our momentum. I think we just got to look at the Raptors game as a whole and just understand that we cannot let games like that slip going down the road. And hopefully we'll get our get back against the Raptors tomorrow, and then we'll continue to build on this avalanche of a ball that we're kind of building going into the new year. Because right after the Raptors game, we have our home opener against the New Orleans Pelicans, which we will all be in attendance for that game. And I hear that there is a certain rookie that really wants his rematch against Atlanta after doing us dirty when we took that trip to New
Hold
Orleans. And
on. Let me
boy,
see if I hold
can
on.
I
Let's
not
go to
wait.
Twitter real quick because I remember hasn't he tweeted out that date. So
He
hold on.
did.
Oh, he called us
He
out. He
he
called it
tweeted
out.
he tweeted out January 7th, and he put a little
No, no,
hourglass
no, 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 hold
emoji.
on. Not only did he tweet out January 7th, 2025, he tweeted out the exact no. Yes, okay, here it is. January 7th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This is replying to a Falcons tweet
Yep.
saying Mark's safe from Derek Queen when the Falcons beat the Saints that day.
Yep. Yep.
So
I cannot wait, man.
It was a
so
I
great.
can I cannot wait
the
how
three
State
of
Farm
us
Arena is
plus,
going to react
plus
to
a
him.
friend I got a friend going with me to this game. Um, Um, yeah, so it's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central. It's gonna be it's gonna be Derek Queen's in for a rude awakening.
I want all the
Knock on
smoke,
wood.
man. Look, I
Knock on
already
wood.
know that our sixth man section is going to have such a field day with Derek Queen. And like you said, Chase, when the Hawks win this game, our social media admin is going to have one heck of a time. It is going to be an all time troll from the Atlanta Hawks. But
Yes.
I am excited for it, man. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to the first episode of Talkin ATL Hawks of 2026. Hopefully, this year is going to be a year we get to reflect on and say, hey, we just raised an NBA banner. And we get to look at it when we go to the 2026 season opener in the fall. And we get to look up and be like, wow, we really just did that. Or at least we can, if none of that does happen and I'm just daydreaming, at least we can say, we have a guaranteed lottery pick locked up for this draft. Because, of course, we're going to be at the draft party again this year like we have been every year. It's going to be a good time. I cannot wait for what 2026 has to offer. But thank you guys for joining in. This has been Andrew Jefferson, my beautiful specimen, John Joyner, and my decent looking guy, Chase Jefferson. See you guys on the other side.